If you are like me and you love westerns, then there's a good chance you've been watching Yellowstone and 1883. Both are really good shows and they're well written by Taylor Sheridan. And in season 4 of Yellowstone, we were introduced to the Four Sixes Ranch, and there's supposed to be a show coming out by that name. This is one of the largest ranches in Texas, and it was recently purchased by Taylor Sheridan. I'm sure this has many people curious about what the Four Sixes Ranch is and who started it. This video is going to get you all of those answers. The Four Sixes Ranch is located near the town of Guthrie, Texas in King County. At least that's where the main section of the ranch is, and it spans 350,000 acres of land. The Dixon Creek section spans 108,000 acres in the panhandle of Texas in Carson and Hutchinson counties. The ranch was established by a legendary cattleman and rancher named Samuel Burke Burnett. I recently came across his burial location in Fort Worth, Texas. He is located in a beautiful mausoleum in the historic Oakwood Cemetery. This cemetery has a lot of history in it, and much of it is Old West history. I have done some videos on some of those buried within the grounds of this cemetery, and I will have more in the future, but that is another story. So the question remains, who exactly is Mr. Samuel Burke Burnett? I first ran across his name years ago while passing through the town Burke, Burnett, which was named in his honor by President Theodore Roosevelt. The president had been coyote and wolf hunting there with Burnett long before the town was established. Roosevelt suggested the town be named in Burnett's honor, and it stuck. When I found that out, I had to do more research and find out exactly who this Samuel Burke Burnett was. Samuel Burke Burnett was born on January 1st, 1849 in Bates County, Missouri to Jeremiah and Mary Burnett, who were farmers. Samuel also had a brother Bruce that became a rancher in his own right. In 1857 to 1858, the family moved to the Denton County, Texas area where Jeremiah became a cattleman. Samuel was young then, but that's where he began learning about ranching. In 1870, Burke Burnett, as he was known, purchased his first 100 head of cattle wearing the Four Sixes brand from Frank Crowley of Denton, Texas. He drove 1,100 steers to Wichita, Kansas during the Panic of 1873 and sold them for $10,000 in 1874, which made him a fortune at the time. Later that year, he purchased 1,300 more cattle and drove them along the Chisholm Trail to the open rangeland by the Little Wichita River. He purchased land near Wichita Falls, Texas before the town was built. In the 1880s, he had to move his cattle to Oklahoma because of the droughts that were happening in Texas. This area of land in Oklahoma was known as the Big Pasture. It was Kiowa, Comanche, and Apache land that was leased out to different ranchers. Burnett rented some 300,000 acres of land where his 10,000 head of cattle could graze. His son Thomas worked as a cowhand on the Big Pasture. It was during this time that Burnett met Quanah Parker. He became good friends with him and eventually financed the building of the Star House for Parker around 1890 in Cache, Oklahoma. In 1900, Burnett purchased the 8 Ranch from the Louisville Land and Cattle Company and renamed it the Four Sixes Ranch as a tribute to how his fortune started, as well as the brands that were on his first herd of cattle. He raised purebred Herefords and Durham bulls, which won national prizes at livestock shows all over the United States. He also bred purebred quarter horses. In 1917, he built a ranch house in Guthrie at a cost of $100,000. He had many famed guests that stayed there, including Teddy Roosevelt and comedian Will Rogers. 1918 proved to be a difficult year for him. He lost 2,000 head of cattle that were killed in a blizzard. In 1921, oil was discovered on the ranch, which turned into a very profitable enterprise. Samuel Burke Burnett died on June 27, 1922. In 1969, he was inducted into the Hall of Great Westerners and the National Cowboy Western Heritage Museum. His ranching and oil interests were held in a trust until his granddaughter, Ann Valiant Burnett Tandy, received them in an inheritance in 1922. In 1980, it was inherited by his great-granddaughter, Ann Winfor Marion, who served as a president of Burnett Ranches and chairman of the Burnett Oil Company. Ann Winfer Marion died on February 11, 2020, and the ranch was put up for sale in accordance with the will that she had established. In December of that same year, a buyer group for Taylor Sheridan expressed interest in purchasing the ranch and did so in May of 2021. Sheridan purchased the ranch for $347.7 million. So next time you're watching Yellowstone or the new series 4/6s that will be coming out, you'll know that it was and is a real ranch started by the famous rancher and cattleman Samuel Burke Burnett. I'm excited to see what they do with this new series, and I think it's great that they're keeping the spirit of the West alive. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.